SORISEVA HARJU. Kaikki mitä tapahtuu Pispalassa.
Tämänpäiväinen jakso on englanniksi. Today's episode is in English. Today's episode takes us to one of the most Finnish phenomena of all time, the sauna. Huvila's own sauna whisperer, ambassador and heater, German-born Alexander Lembke, discusses his love and passion for sauna with Heidi Huhtamella while delving into its age-old traditions, history, meaning, magic, and overall significance in the life of a Finn. Together, they decode the allure and explore the reasons why it's such a special experience, along with the entire culture wrapped around the fiery heart of the sauna.
Hei, tervetuloa tänne Tahmelan Huvilalle. Tänään puhutaan Tahmelan Huvilan saunasta. Hi everybody, today we are here in Tahmelan Huvila and we are talking about sauna. I'm interviewing here today Alexander Lembke, Alex, who is called our sauna whisperer. He knows everything about Finnish sauna. Alex, can you tell a little bit about yourself first?
I tell something about myself. I would like to say that I don't know anything about sauna, but I want to learn everything about sauna, so it will take a couple of more years. I live here in Pispala. I'm going to sauna every day, mostly. I also work in sauna. I work here in Huvila sauna, and I also work in Rajapoti sauna as the heater. And that is the work. But of course, I'm also interested in sauna, in sauna culture in general. I've done many projects about sauna culture, and I'm still working all the time on different projects about sauna culture. And I hope, and I guess I will do that in the future as well. And originally I'm from Germany, but I haven't lived in Germany for a very long time.
Okay, but when did you saw the light of sauna? When did you become the sauna believer?
Actually, it's some time ago, and I would say it's two different events. Maybe the Finns don't like to hear it, but I was studying in Sweden, in Malmö, pretty close to my university. There was a sauna actually, and it's called Kalpathysse, and it was at the beach, and it's maybe a little bit like Rajapoti, so it was a very, very old sauna, very beautiful sauna, and Sweden has this nice culture of these bathing places, these saunas at the seaside, old places. There's also a quite nice book about these places, and since this was like 5-minute walk from the university, my Swedish friends, they said, hey, just let's go to sauna, have some loli and go and have a dip in the sea between the lectures. And that was kind of like a new way for me to go to sauna, because it's so different in Germany. And then I just started to go to sauna with them, and it was quite enjoyable in the winter, in the summer. And it's not like a Finnish sauna. There were some weird things going on, like reading very wet newspapers in the sauna. But Löli was actually quite okay. So this was like one thing. And the next thing, maybe 3 years later, or maybe 4 years later actually, I was teaching at TAIK University in Helsinki for a while, and I was living at that time in Kruununhakka, and TAIK was in Arabia, so I always went with the tram from Arabia to Kruununhakka, and then someone told me, hey, you really have to check this, there's these great saunas in Kallio in Helsinki. So I just got off the tram, and he said you can't go there without beer, so buy some beer before you go there. So I bought some beers, and I went to Kotiharjun sauna. And it was, I think, my first real public Finnish sauna, so one of the many different experiences you can have in Finland. So like this old public sauna, and it was quite nice place, very nice people, a little bit special place. Everyone was playing chess, so maybe this is a little bit unique in that place. And then I just started after work to go to that sauna whenever it was open. And since my background is also in documentary photography and filmmaking, I also started to photograph the guys there, and I became a little bit part of this community because I went there so often. And then at some point there was also this sauna Arla, which is equally good but different. And then later I actually was teaching I started to teach at TAMK, these short-term teaching contracts. And then I went to Rajapoti for the first time, and that was 2008.
And then you saw the light.
I had seen the light before, but then again I was so stunned by another sauna which was different to all the saunas before. I have quite a funny story because this was not my first sauna. The first sauna was the old Kaupinoja sauna before it burned down, and I just went there, and it was extremely hot. I think it was 150 degrees Celsius.
Yes.
And there were these rakkuramiehet, and I just went up to the benches, sitting there, and it was so beautiful with the lake. And I was going for a hike before I went to that sauna, and I was just sitting there. And then these guys looked at me, saying nothing, pouring loli like crazy. Then, little by little, all the guys went out, and I was thinking by myself, "Oh, this is really hot sauna." And there was one guy left, and he just looked down and was like pouring loli all the time. And only once in a while, this guy in a firefighter suit came in to put more firewood to the kiosk, which was very unique because it was so hot kiosk and was a good show. And then at some point I thought, this is really hot now. It's really hot. And then suddenly this guy who was sitting opposite of me on the other side of the benches, he said in this like only Finns can speak like with this slang in German, and he said to me, "You have won." And I was actually not aware that it was a competition, but apparently it was, so I could take more loli than him.
Kaupinoja is famous for that.
Yes, I took more loli than him, but I didn't know actually. It was just fun experience. And then actually I went to the changing room after that, and then he came to me and we were shaking hands, and then we started to talk a little bit. And then I started to photograph these guys. So I went there more often, and it was like kind of, again, an opener. But unfortunately, the sauna burned down later because...
Too hot.
Too hot, yes. There's also a fun story about that, but it's another story. But now there's new Kaupinoja sauna, I go there once in a while. I really like it too. It's not as hot anymore.
Do you think that the light that you got, is it because of the community you found, or is it the löyly itself that is something that gives you the feeling?
For me, it's something else. For me, it's kind of this connection or interjunction between nature and humans, because we have like this fire, and this is a very archaic thing if you have like these old saunas, and for me this is like something you don't find so much anymore. So I really don't like electric saunas, and I avoid them usually, but I'm fascinated by fire and what it does to you. So I mean, everyone basically is. If you go to the forest and make a campfire, it's a little bit similar. So for me it's more like this connection to nature, and the body connects to nature, and I don't know any other place where you can do that, or where you can have these experiences with yourself. So, and then comes everything else. Löyly, the experience, the relaxation, the mood in the sauna, all these things.
So because you have been now, you are truly a Finnish sauna friend, and you are like the ambassador of the Finnish sauna abroad. So you have been in different kind of saunas around Europe also. How does Finnish sauna differ from other saunas around Europe? What is the difference, for example, like with German saunas?
I think you have to look at that from a social cultural point of view. I try to make it like really short now because this is quite a huge topic. But Finland, the Baltics, Russia, all these countries have a real sauna culture, which means it has been developing over hundreds or even thousands of years. There were certain development steps, sometimes related to technology, sometimes related to the humans and what they were doing. But anyway, it's a real sauna culture, and it's the same in the Baltics, and I don't know any other sauna culture where, for example, where every family has kind of own sauna tradition when it comes to Christmas, where you have special songs dedicated to saunas. Even Rajapoti has its own sauna song. You have midsummer sauna sauna. You have all like these things, and it's people were born in the sauna. People were kind of like, it was when someone died, you said farewell in the sauna to someone. So it's like all kinds of these things. And what you have in Germany is not, in my opinion, a sauna culture. It's a business model which is based on cultural appropriation. So they just take something and they don't want to listen and they don't want to see, and then they turn it into something else. It's a little bit similar to what happens to yoga. And it's a business model, so they don't have a real culture. Actually, when the Finns went to take part in Olympia in 1936, the Finnish athletes were quite successful, and they had brought a sauna with them. So the Nazis thought, oh, this is good. It can make also the Germans more strong when we go to sauna. And they had these crazy plans. I have 2 books, very rare books about it actually. And they wanted to build saunas all over Germany, and they wanted to build these crazy, huge, so-called Gesundheitsstadion with 30 meters high kiosks, like the Nazi thing. So it's not a real culture. And from there, I mean, you can talk about it long time, but from there it was a little bit developing different in East Germany and West Germany. I'm from East Germany, and I actually had saunas when I was a kid. We went to the Baltic Sea for holidays, and there was just like this basic, very close to Finnish idea of sauna. So just going to the sauna, having löyly, going to the sea, swimming. And in West Germany it went into another direction, and I would say that since maybe 15 years it goes totally down the tubes. I mean, it's going super crazy. They don't know how to build good saunas in Germany, and they have like this weird culture which is now spreading like a coronavirus all over Europe, even to the States, which is called Aufguss sauna. So they use the Finnish word sauna, but they don't understand, and they don't use the word löyly because they don't know what it means. So it's again quite interesting topic from a social cultural point of view. Actually, if you go back in the history of sauna, Swedish word badstuga comes from the German word badestube. So actually in the medieval ages there was some kind of bath sauna thing in Germany, but it was a place for party and whores and having a lot of booze. It was, and a little bit of cleaning yourself. But the Swedish word badestube, it's a German word originally. So everything is kind of a little bit connected.
You had your own, you said that you are a photographer, and you are also an artist, and you had your own exhibition here in Tahmelan Huvila about the German sauna culture.
Yeah.
That was very interesting, let's say it this way. I like the guidebook for sauna heater. Can you tell a little bit about that?
No, actually it was not a guidebook about sauna heaters, because there are no sauna heaters in Germany, because most of the saunas are electric. But it was.
It looked like a math book.
Yeah, it was a guidebook how to make löyly. So the whole book was about how to perform this Aufguss show. And actually, if you go to a public German sauna, private saunas are a different thing. The guests are not allowed to pour any löyly, so only this so-called sauna master is allowed to pour löyly. And it's really crazy. If you haven't experienced it, if you go there, it's just nuts. And it's a little bit like a small, maybe this goes a little bit too far, but I still think it's like that. So there's a little Nazi coming into the sauna, and then he tells you what you have to do and what you don't have to do. And if you don't follow these rules, you get a warning or you get thrown out. I have been thrown out of the German sauna by a security guard. So, and you can't talk in a sauna. There are no children allowed in a sauna. You are not allowed to pour löyly. You can't sit without a super big towel. You can't leave when the so-called sauna master is pouring löyly. You're not allowed to leave only in a case of emergency. So there's all kinds of these crazy rules. Sometimes they have music, sometimes they have artificial fog which simulates löyly and all these things. And some saunas, they don't have that, but still you're not allowed to pour löyly. There's always the sauna master, and you have to go to this education where you have to take these courses, which are actually quite expensive, where they teach you how to pour löyly. But actually, they learn nothing. They don't understand cures. They don't understand the rocks. They don't understand sauna. They don't understand airflow. They don't understand the culture of sauna. They focus totally on the wrong things. I have to stop now because I'm getting a little bit angry.
I can hear that. But it was really fun. The exhibition was really fun in here, and it got people very interested of German sauna. But to be honest, we love our Finnish sauna. But you have also done your share of recording Finnish sauna history, because you made a documentary film about people who have been born in sauna. How that made you feel? What kind of experience was that?
First, I want to say I made one movie about one specific person who was born in sauna, but I made an exhibition about all the people who were born in sauna, and I was traveling actually for 2 years to Finland to find people who were still born in sauna. So I was in the north. I spent most of the time actually in Karelia because there were really amazing places. And then I tried to find the people who were born in sauna, but also the saunas where they were born. And that was quite interesting because some of the saunas were still in use. So these beautiful old smoke saunas somewhere in the woods where there was a farm of this family. So they actually were still used in very good shape, and the people were very proud on their smoke saunas, and I had really good learning. And other saunas, I was filming this one guy. I have still all this film material, and it will go to another film at some point. So I have like all these people recorded. And one of these guys, I went with him to his old smoke sauna, which was full of car tires, car batteries, and like all kinds of things. And actually he started to cry because he realized that this is like his heritage. This is a smoke sauna, and now it's like a place for storage. So they really didn't take care at all about the sauna. So that was quite interesting experience. And I have recorded all of this. And then I went with another lady actually to the sauna where she was born, and the sauna was not existing anymore. This savu sauna, there was just grass, and you could see like the fundament of the sauna. So it was a little bit sad story. So there was a little bit of everything. But for me, of course, I learned also a lot about this Finnish sauna culture by listening to the stories of the people. So at some point there will also be a book about the Soul project. But the first thing was like this big exhibition which I had in Tampere, where I showed a very small amount of what I had collected. And yeah, usually the problem is I'm too busy.
But that is the fact that, for example, my father has been born in a smoke sauna in Lapland, in Ivalo. And so it is part of Finnish history that children were getting born in sauna. So it's not so far away from our history.
No, and actually one result of my exhibition was that I found people, families, mothers who decided they still want to give birth in a smoke sauna.
Yeah.
So they did. So I also find some children which were 2 and 6 years old who were born in a smoke sauna just some years ago.
But your sauna work has, you have got a new acquaintances of people who are doing the this kind of treatments, traditional sauna treatments. So you are now getting familiar with this part of Finnish culture also, sauna culture, that we used to have the saunas for different kind of purposes, having some treatments in there, some healing stuff and so on. How do you feel about that?
I think it's very interesting and really part of the sauna culture, and I hope it's not getting commercialized.
Yeah. Because
you can't commercialize the holy. There was once a nice article which stated that if you commercialize the holy, it will disappear. So, but in general, I have taken part in some magic sauna rituals myself, and I've seen a lot of stuff. And it's super, super interesting. And I also, did some work about it. And at some point it will be shown somewhere. Yeah. But this is also more long-term project. But I think it's just great, like these magic spells. You have these very specific traditions for marriage or for Christmas and all these entities who live in the sauna. So it's super interesting, yeah.
And sauna has been part of the different phases of the person in different important phases. For example, with the ladies, okay, you get born, but then you get your first periods, then you get married, pre-married, getting children, and then also the death. So in the all important phases, the sauna has been there with the Finnish people. And then let's go back to this date. So you have been traveling, you have been testing. Have you ever calculated how many saunas you have been visiting?
No.
A lot.
Yeah, I have been. Of course, wherever I go to a sauna. Yeah.
Okay. What is the best sauna? Can you say what is the best sauna?
Yeah, of course. I can say, but I would not say it's one sauna. I would say this was a very fantastic experience. This was a very fantastic experience. Usually, my best sauna experiences and my most spiritual sauna experiences I had in old private smoke saunas in Finland. Actually, one is pretty close to Tampere, and also one really nice, very interesting experience in Estonia, also in a smoke sauna.
What made those unique? Was it?
They were absolutely unique. Yes.
Yes.
One of the saunas was from 1814 and still in use. Only heated in the summer, but it was a very old smoke sauna. That was in Virat, actually.
Okay.
Pretty close to Tampere.
Yes. Was it the löyly that made it good, or the atmosphere of the people who were with?
It was in the middle of nowhere. It was a very, very small, very traditionally built smoke sauna, because I'm also very much interested in how saunas are constructed. So this was just great, and of course the heating is part of the actually going to the sauna. So I'm also interested in the heating, and all these things were so special in the sauna, and the löyly was absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
And if you think about how old the sauna is, the only thing which was changed was the roof, a little bit fixed, but everything else was original. So it was really, really old.
What about the stones, the kiuas itself?
It was just very traditionally, like layered stones manually. I think the kiuas has been fixed. It had to be fixed several times, but it was done in this traditional.
So here in Tampere, what saunas do you recommend to people?
In general, I recommend Tampere, because here you have the possibility for someone who's coming from a non-sauna cultural country. Tampere is the best place because you have so many different löyly experiences. But first, you have to kind of develop your ability to experience löyly and taste it. So, of course, minun lempisauna on Rajapotti.
And
also Huvila sauna. But
I got it from there. Yes.
But Rajapotti, of course, it's so unique, and there's only one Rajapotti in the world.
Yes.
And we really have to protect it, and we have to do everything for Rajapotti. So that's why I'm also working there as a heater, because I want to understand it a little better, and I learned a lot about sauna.
Yeah, and now it will be protected by the law.
Yes, but then of course it has the best löyly in Tampere. There's no discussion about it.
Okay.
No other löyly has that kind of quality and that dimension. But Rajapotti has no avanto. So I have to go to Huvila, because I think we now have also quite good löyly in Huvila, and we have avanto. And it's a little bit like being in the forest. And it's just another of these great sauna experiences you can have. And that's why I like Tampere or Finland so much, because every day can have a different good sauna experience. And that's also why I think you should come to Tampere, because you can test all these places. I don't like these super crowded saunas anymore so much. Maybe I'm getting older and more calm, but anyway, you can test all these really great sauna places. Not all of them are super good, but all of them are better than any German sauna.
I totally agree with you about the crowded saunas, because for me also the sauna experience must be like the relaxing one. I don't like the idea that I have to queue when going to the sauna and queue when going to Avanto and back. It is very strange. So for me, sauna is like the relaxing place, and you need to have that kind of a spiritual feeling in there, and you can't have it if there are like 100 people waiting to take your spot.
It's a little, Rovaniemi tends to be, if you come at the wrong time, a little sauna factory. But of course, it's still a great place. But
what about you are taking care of the Huvila sauna too, and you have been developing Huvila sauna. What are the biggest changes you have been doing here during the years?
Maybe I'm a quite egoistic person, because whenever I go to a sauna, I want the best possible löyly. So I think it was not only me who did this, so we were also discussing and trying to think about how we can make löyly better and what can we do. And then we tried many different small things, also with Veikko. I think we have now pretty good löyly in our gallery sauna, and this is not only my opinion, but also guests are saying that. I think it's as good as it gets. There's some things which can still be improved, but it's really, really good. And also our
Sotkan
sauna is now quite good. Different experience, but also quite unique atmosphere, and also pretty good löyly. But I already have some ideas what still has to be improved.
Okay, never perfect.
No.
And you always have to maintain them.
Life is too short for bad löyly. And as I said, whenever I go to sauna, I want the best possible löyly. Because I have tasted the bad löyly too often in my life.
So now you are heating Rajaportti. Are you heating it every day?
No, it's usually on the weekends, and then on demand if needed. If there's Tilhouse sauna, or if we change shifts.
And here in Huvila?
Same little bit. I heat it on Sundays, and when there's demand for Tilhouse sauna, for example.
Yes. And Sundays you are heating the two saunas because it really needs someone to be present all the time.
Yeah, I mean, the löyly Henki is more happy if you take care of him.
Yes.
And there's many small things, and I think it's good if you just take care of it.
Yeah. Okay, Alex, thank you very much. And just have to tell you that we have open sauna days. So our public sauna days are Tuesday, when we are open from 3:30 until 8 o'clock. It's a mixed sauna. Please bring your swimwear. On Thursdays, we have 2 shifts for ladies only and 1 mixed shift. So please do check out our Facebook page or our internet page. And then on Sunday from 1 o'clock until 6 o'clock we have 2 saunas ready. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everybody. And see you in Tahmelan Huvila sauna.
Joo, nähdään pian. Kiitos.
Nähdään. Moi.
Kiitos kun kuuntelit SORISEVA HARJU-podcastia.